What is the most practical way to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube? You've probably seen a lot of videos about how to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and sometimes they're really frustrating because your channel feels stuck. So, in this video, we're actually going to be talking about the best method for getting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, even if you don't have any video editing skills, you don't have Michael Jordan or Taylor Swift levels of talent, you don't have any fancy gear, or you don't have any experience. That's okay, because when you follow what you're going to learn in this video, and especially some of the tips I'm going to be sharing towards the end, you're going to see how practical it can be to grow your channel to your first or next 1,000 subscribers. I'm also going to be sharing a tip that I learned for YouTube growth from Dave Ramsey, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Marie Forleo that any of us can apply, and it's probably going to surprise you. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit about keyword research and how to come up with video ideas guaranteed to get views. All of that is what we're going to be covering in this deep dive training session on the ASQ method, the simple path for gaining over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And today's session is brought to you by vidIQ.com/think. Shout out to them for sponsoring this video, but more on them later. Now, if you want to start a YouTube channel, here's how I think of it. It's kind of like building a house. Like if you want to build a strong house, you need the right tools. And if you want to build a successful YouTube channel, you need the right tools. Well, what do I mean? Well, if you're trying to accomplish a goal, like if I'm trying to get this screw into a board, it's going to be very difficult if I don't have the right tools. I'm going to put a lot of effort into it. I might be using that wrench as a hammer and I'm going to be banging the screw up. It's like not really going in. The wood's kind of getting torn. It's going off sideways. You could actually be putting a lot of effort into trying to accomplish your goal, but having a ton of frustration because you don't have the right tools, right? And so ultimately, if you have the right tool, all of a sudden all the frustration goes away and you start to get results. Well, ultimately, if you're building a house, you need a hammer, a saw, a screwdriver, a tape measure, a level. Well, if you're building a YouTube channel, you need the right tools. Now, those do come with how do you make a video? How do you do a title? How do you create a thumbnail? Sure. But what we've learned at Think Media is there's actually like methods. They're kind of like video strategies. We've actually created 16 different video strategies that have helped our students get silver play buttons and grow their YouTube channels and go full time. And we're going to be talking about one of those methods today. It's basically a tool that is going to help you reach your first or next 1,000 subscribers. And the reason people struggle to grow on YouTube is because they're ultimately making the wrong videos, especially when starting out. They're making videos about this and that, but stuck, and it's a ghost town. It's like a tumbleweed just rolled through your YouTube channel. And one of the ways to fix that is not necessarily by making a better video. The mistake people make is they think if I just had better editing, if I just made a better thumbnail. But if you're making the wrong videos, then no, the best editing in the world is not going to help you. So that is where we started to develop what's called the ASQ method. And here's a broad overview, and then we're going to unpack depth for the strategy throughout this training. And so the ASQ method stands for this. It stands for answer specific questions. Answer specific questions. The most practical way to start getting views on YouTube with no experience, no fancy gear, is using the ASQ method. This is number one of 16 different strategies to start getting views. But what I love about this one is it's also the easiest. It's like the most practical to get started with. And 70% of viewers use YouTube to help them solve a problem. 70% of viewers that are watching YouTube use YouTube to help them solve a problem. You can put that another way. A problem is a question. Man, how do I solve this problem? How do I reach this goal? How do I get a date with a person? How do I recover after divorce? How do I build a video editing PC on a budget? How do I beat this level in a game? How do I lose some weight or gain some muscle? How do I prepare for retirement or set up a trust? People are asking questions and they're going to YouTube to ask those questions. So here's something for you to write down. What is a question that your ideal YouTube subscriber wants to know? Now we need to take a pause for this strategy because you might go, well, Sean, I don't know who my ideal YouTube subscriber is. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because ultimately knowing who our ideal YouTube subscriber is going to be a huge key to crafting the proper content and answering the right questions. And so who is your ideal YouTube channel? Who is your channel for? And what problem does your YouTube channel solve? Then you can start answering the questions that people care about. So let me give you an example. On Think Media, I started Think Media back in 2010. Today, it's multiple content creators. It's pretty wild what it's turned into. But I started it after I had started multiple other YouTube channels, and I'd managed YouTube channels for different, in the beginning, pastors and authors. I'd done small YouTube channels for small businesses in Marysville, Washington, like a local Mexican restaurant and things like that. So then I started to realize people were asking me questions about what camera should I buy? How do I start a YouTube channel? How do I grow with video? How do I do these different things? And even more specifically, people were wondering, well, how do I find music that's not going to get me flagged for copyright? How do I find music that's legal to use so that YouTube doesn't take away my monetization? So I made a video on the best copyright-free music for YouTube videos, the top 3 sites. Now, this is answering a specific question. So if you go to the YouTube search bar and someone types in, what is the best copyright-free music? Now notice this framework, the ASQ method, one of the big mistakes people make is they just do the AQ method. It doesn't work. The answer questions method. Because you might go, well, Sean, it's too crowded to do this. It's too late to do this. In a 2024 world, does this work? It still works, but not if you just answer questions. A lot of people are doing that. You need to answer specific questions. Like if you're new to this, you might be like, I wouldn't even have used this language, like best copyright-free music, even more specifically for YouTube videos. It's incredibly specific. It's like, what's the best music? The music needs to be copy-free. What's the use case? YouTube videos. There's like 4 or 5 layers of nuance in terms of the specific question I'm answering. Well, what were the results? This will show you the power of answering specific questions. This video was uploaded on June 11th, 2018. Revelation number 1, you can upload a video answering a specific question 5 years ago and still get views today. Revelation number 2, the video is still getting 1,055 views every 2 days. It is 5 years old. So this video is growing my channel. Revelation number 3, YouTube search is where those views are coming from. So remember, we just saw the stats. People are going to YouTube looking for answers to specific questions. Well, there's the 1,055 people basically every day that are doing that. Still 5 years later, and the video still gets views. Revelation number 4, one video has earned me personally $37,260.37 just from ad revenue. So the objection, someone might say, well, I do ASQ videos in my small niche or my small channel topic. I only get a couple hundred views. Off a couple hundred views, you're not going to make significant money off of AdSense. But I think the myth people believe is that answering specific questions can't be lucrative. I don't know about you, but this video has earned $37,000. This is a decent amount of money. Like, let me know in the chat if you could use an extra $37,000. Revelation number 5. Doing this has also grown my channel 55,000 subscribers. So we're talking about in this video how to get your first 1,000 subscribers. I hope that your self-belief is increasing, because you might say, Sean, you've been doing this for a while. You're an expert at video. I'm just starting. I'm nervous to get on camera. Well, so what if you only got 1/55th of the results that I got here? That'd be 1,000 subscribers from one video. Now, when you're starting from scratch, maybe you do 10 of these, maybe you do 20 of these. You're going to get to 1,000 subscribers following this method, and over the next 5 days in our challenge. And if you are watching the YouTube version of this, we're just streaming the first session. I'll tell you a little bit more how you can join that later. But see the power of how answering specific questions can ultimately generate massive results. And think with Google revealed that 86% of US viewers say they often use YouTube to learn new things. So ultimately, you packaging answers to questions, teaching people skills, like showing people different things, 86%, that's wild. It's amount of people to reach. But you might say, okay, well, but Sean, isn't it too late to do this? In a 2024 world, isn't it too late to do this? Aren't all the questions already answered? And the good news is no, because there will always be new questions. There will always be a need of fresh take on information. And you'd be surprised. There are still tens of thousands of questions that are unanswered all across YouTube. You just need to learn how to find them. In fact, meet Larry. So Larry is a chartered financial analyst. He's faced a lot of challenges on his journey. His career was in history and finance. And for several years, he really struggled with comparing himself to others. Originally, he actually failed the level 3 CFA exam, which caused him to get super discouraged because he was getting passed up for job promotions. But, sometimes the setbacks in our life actually are the setups for our biggest opportunities. Because what he ultimately decided was, what? I actually want something different for my future. I want more freedom. I want to be able to express my creativity. And so through perseverance, through growing his confidence, through developing the right mindset, and through learning new skills, he actually stepped out as an entrepreneur and as a creator. And he posted his first video on June 9th, 2021. He didn't post it 10 years ago. Oh, if I started YouTube 10 years, if I only would have got into YouTube 5 years ago. No, he got into YouTube like what, less than 2 years ago. Okay. And if you notice too, no fancy camera, no fancy experience. He had no experience when he posted his first video. No fancy editing. It's very basic. Nothing fancy about his content. But here's what's crazy about Larry is that in 6 months, his channel grew 53,000 subscribers. He actually got 1,000 subscribers in 1 week. And Larry actually joined our YouTube challenge, our Tube 1K YouTube challenge, got 1,000 subscribers in 1 week. After 6 months, he got almost 1 million views. He posted 13 videos. He's over 100,000 subscribers now. But one of the things that Larry does, what's his strategy? What is his methodology? One of the big tools in his belt, answer specific questions, helping his viewers learn new things and helping his viewers solve problems. So if you're actually watching the public stream of this and you're interested in being a part of the challenge Larry was a part of, you can register at learnvideo2023.com. If you're already in the challenge, shout me out. We're streaming multiple places right now just for this first session. And so we're going to be covering so much content. This is session number 1 of 5 days of content and training, totally for free. But in this session, we're going to be talking about new YouTube stats you need to know, the powerful strategy I discovered from Dave Ramsey and Gary Vaynerchuk, how to use the ASQ method specifically to get views and subscribers. And then also, this is probably the most powerful part of this entire video, and it's how to unlock unlimited motivation and to overcome fear. Because no matter whether you're just a beginning or even if you're advanced, I know for me, fear keeps showing up and trying to talk me out of my dreams. Like that it's sometimes hard to get up, get motivated. In fact, even as I was prepared all weekend long, I had a massive computer crash. Like on Friday, my computer said boot disk is, it needs a boot disk. And there was a fried circuit. And I was like, oh no. Now, mind you, my computer, I was using it since 2015. So it's an 8-year-old computer. It was irresponsibly, I had to let the dust accumulate on the inside. Like I'm sure the fans were just full of dust. My fault. So I spent all weekend long rebuilding things. And of course, even this, I was feeling insecurity. I was feeling like fear am I going to be ready? Like nervous, so whatever you're going through at the end of this training is probably the most important part. So stick around. And then also, if you're sharing out, you're part of this challenge, tag me on Official Think Media on Instagram and use the hashtag growth video. Post a story or something if you're watching this or you're on YouTube. I love seeing your battle stations. You hit that selfie battle station camera if you have anything, even if it's just like your cat, a notebook in your kitchen, and tag us Official Think Media on Instagram, hashtag growth video across social media. Why YouTube? So why YouTube right now as we are going into a 2024 world? Why YouTube? Well, new stats actually just dropped. YouTube continues to grow. Right now, there's 2.7 billion monthly active users on YouTube. And that number continues to rise. You could see as it grows every single year. But one of the reasons why this is an important stat is I know the mindset a lot of us have. Man, YouTube is so crowded. There's so many big channels. There's people that are ahead of me. They got started before me. But I want to encourage you and ask you this question. You can engage with me. Who's the most subscribed YouTuber on YouTube? Who has the most subscribers? What channel has the most subscribers on YouTube? And I want to frame that question as you're thinking about that in light of, is there anybody on YouTube that's reaching everybody on YouTube? Well, if you answered Mr. Beast, you could say that maybe he's the most subscribed independent creator. I don't think that's actually true anymore. because he's not really independent. He has a team. His team is massive. He's spending millions per video. David E says the Indian channel. Yep. T-Series for sure. T-Series is up there. Another one that you'll see is Coco Melon. This is the channel I'm an expert at. Right now, I am an expert at Gracie's Corner, Blippy, Coco Melon, and Jason. Like these 5, and then Lego Build. So some of the kids' channels are some of the biggest. And yes, Living Fierce says Coco Melon. And so all that to say is that the most subscribed channel is something around 250 million subscribers. 250 million. Now that's impressive. But if you were to think, Sean Cannell, that's funny. That's impressive. But compare 250 million to 2.7 billion. What does that tell you? It tells you that even the biggest channel doesn't even come close to the size of the YouTube platform. What does that reveal? It reveals that people are different. Surprisingly enough, not everybody likes Mr. Beast. Surprisingly enough, not everybody watches Coco Melon or T-Series. Big shocker, right? There's different people that approach YouTube because some people want to learn things. Some people want different types of entertainment. Some people have really niche and specific hobbies. Some people are just a community of 1,000 subscribers or 5,000 subscribers. And that can actually be incredibly profitable. And we're going to be talking about the math. Here's the thing. The competition thing is a myth. Yes, there is competition, but I think you're underestimating the market size. You're underestimating how big YouTube is, and YouTube continues to grow. And so ultimately in business, you'd call it supply and demand. And the demand for good content is skyrocketing on YouTube. People are hungry for good content for their specific passions, their unique thing that they want. It's not just about, the big YouTubers and the big companies running channels. No, it's about the opportunity to reach not even 1 million people, to reach 100,000 people, not even 100,000, to reach 10,000 people. And we're going to be showing you how to do that, obviously, as we're talking about getting your first 1,000 and beyond. But here's the other opportunity. YouTube is localized in more than 100 countries and is available in over 80 languages. I spoke at VidCon this year, and one of the biggest talks on the industry floor was about the impact of YouTube around the world. So if you live in a country that's not the US or Canada or Australia or whatever, you have a big opportunity to get in on these different languages and the opportunity of YouTube being in different countries. Some of the biggest opportunities for growth are that. I spoke in Panama a while back, and what was interesting was I was at like an influencer event in Panama, and they were like, yeah, basically we're tracking behind the US, but we're about 5 to 10 years behind. That is actually an opportunity, because where sometimes it feels like certain markets, are again more saturated internationally, massive opportunity. Now, there's also the Tube Filter article that revealed 200 million people are earning money from digital content creation. And that was back in March and April of 2022. So this is about a 1.5 year old stat, and these numbers continue to multiply. The financial opportunity on YouTube continues to expand. In fact, Yahoo Finance put it like this: the creator economy is the fastest growing segment of small business. This is something to consider if you're talking to a family member and they're like, you want to make YouTube videos? Like I was made this video where I was talking about like college compared to like blazing your own path compared to being an entrepreneur. And somebody commented like, you're telling somebody to like drop out of college to make YouTube videos? And I was kind of like, well, it's not exactly what I said, but I mean, sir, if you want to be literal, Yahoo Finance actually, it's not just like, I'm just making YouTube videos. Like, what a dumb hobby. This is the fastest growing type of small business, sir. Like, I don't know if you saw the Yahoo Finance article. This isn't just, some hobby now. This is a practical leading business model. Have you looked at the economics? Have you looked behind the scenes? This is me like responding to a TikTok comment, like just like derailed. I respond with like 5 paragraphs of data. But this is what I think is important. Think about the data. The creator economy is the fastest growing segment of small business. Back when people thought like, this was just like maybe a hype thing. Like, no, there's real skills to this. There's real economics to this. There's a real business model to this. And this is learnable. You can learn how to make this a full-time thing. You can learn how to make this a lucrative opportunity. In fact, Goldman Sachs said the creator economy could approach $500 billion by 2027. What? Like it's the total addressable market's 250 billion right now. It's going to double in the next 4 years. So this is important to know because I don't want to, if I'm starting a new channel, I wouldn't want to start something if the market was on decline. Like, because I wouldn't have the wind in my sails. You know, I think Warren Buffett put it this way. He said, if you're going to be paddling the boat, you might as well be paddling with the current. Like it's going to be really hard to paddle up a river. But if you're going with the river, you're like, man, you ever done that? You ever been in like a lazy river with your kids and you're like, you're flying there, you're flying through. I was doing it with my son, Sean Bradley, the other day. And I was like, man, we're legends because the current was carrying us. I didn't have to carry him with all my own energy. Getting into the creator economy right now, the current will carry you because it is going to double in the next few years. This is my opinion. This is Goldman Sachs research. And so the truth is YouTube is healthy, it's growing, and it's the most profitable platform to establish your brand on right now. But here's one of the things people forget. In a 2024 world, people really forget this. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world still. And yes, suggested traffic, meaning YouTube recommending your videos, for YouTube geeks, meaning like, oh no, you know, the new style of YouTube is to write a particular title that's really curious based and a shocking thumbnail and go viral. And I would agree with you. But what I'd also challenge you with is if you've been studying YouTube and creating content for 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, or whatever, well, then you understand that. But as we're going to unpack in this training, remember, I said no editing, no fancy skills, no fancy talent, no fancy. Like when you tap in, the powerful thing about search is it's powerful to get started, not just because it's a good way to get practical views, but it's also a powerful way to get started because of its simplicity. Let me illustrate like this. I mean, I remember when I met Mary from Mary's Nest, and by met, she actually joined our program Video Ranking Academy back 5 years ago. Okay. Now she's a former New Yorker living the simple life with her sweet husband in the Texas Hill Country. And she wanted to become a content creator. So she loves traditional cooking, bone broth, ferment, sourdough, and she wanted to share her passion on YouTube, showing people how to be a modern pioneer in the kitchen, no matter where you live. But she didn't know where to start. So she didn't know how to edit. She didn't know how to film, didn't know how to do YouTube right, didn't know how to make a video, didn't know what videos to make. Okay. So she started to shoot in her kitchen. She started watching Think Media. She eventually joined our program and she started to shoot videos in her kitchen. And following our system, she started to build her confidence and she started creating videos. And what videos did she start with? Answering specific questions. She used the ASQ method. And because YouTube is a search engine, she started to think about, okay, keyword research, topic research. What is it when it comes to traditional cooking? What topics do people really want to see? So one of the videos she made was a video on homemade apple cider vinegar with the mother. Now, remember, this is not just answer questions. This is answer specific questions. Now, if you're a kind of weird health, natural living kind of person like me, like you're into weird stuff, then you know what the mother is. And if you don't, you're about to be grossed out. Because just to be clear, if you're making homemade apple cider vinegar with the mother, that is like the slimy fermented mushroom that floats around in the beverage. And when you're drinking it, you get it's kind of like drinking like a little slug. It's kind of like slimy. And you're like, I think that's doing something good for me nutritionally. I'm not sure. It's kind of gross, but I think it was good for my health. So anyways, it's not just answering a question. Think about how specific that is. Okay. And you'll notice her title. Here's her video at the top. We call that a ranked video. Okay. So how to make homemade apple cider vinegar with the mother, DIY scratch recipe for beginners. And that is answering specific questions, right? And now notice this video has 847,000 views. What? So these videos can get big views. And this is what's wild about Mary is she started doing YouTube when she was 60. She just turned 65. She just got a book deal from Random House and she's about to hit 1 million subscribers. She's about to get that gold play button. So the truth is YouTube is the best way to impact the world with your message and content from wherever you are. You know, her vision is whether from the kitchen to in a city apartment or a house in the suburbs or a farmhouse in the country, that anyone can join her in preserving traditional cooking skills and find joy living as a modern pioneer in the kitchen. What's your vision for who you want to impact? What is the difference you want to make in the world? I know we want to go full-time on YouTube, and the problem with a vision, like where there is no vision, the people perish, but where there is no money, the vision perishes. So we need money for the mission. We need money for the vision. But I know you also want to make a difference. You know, one of our goals here at Think Media is to help 1 million purpose-driven people create a full-time living doing what they love while making a difference in the world with YouTube. And so that's why when we think about Mary, we love her purpose. She like wants to bring traditional cooking into urban cities, into house in the suburbs, farmhouses, find that joy, have more vibrant, have more impact, have more life. And so all of that different stuff, it's the power of also just getting started, punching fear in the face, not having all the answers, starting messy, but starting with a strategy that works, the ASQ method. And, you know, this is my story of answering specific questions. Sean, how did you discover this? And kind of what was the background? Well, see, I grew up on 6 acres, an hour north of Seattle. And everyone, like in my high school growing up, wore Carhartt clothes at my school. Not because they were cool, by the way, because, you know, Carhartt today, it's like, oh, it's fall. Let me get a pumpkin spice latte. I got my Carhartt beanie. I'm going with the girls. Like, there's like, you're not actually like working in high school. Everyone wore Carhartt because that morning they were baling hay and like had to feed all the animals before they came to school. And so ultimately I grew up with goats, horses, cats, dogs. And, you know, I also kind of felt like I didn't really know where I fit in because if you see in this picture, I'm wearing all skate hookups clothes. In fact, growing up, I always felt like I didn't fit in because I was a farm boy, but I also liked rap, punk rock, import cars, and snowboarding. So I was like trying to figure it out. That's actually a fake ID that I made there, which didn't work. You notice my name was John Blaze. Like, who did I think I was? Like, what was even happening? Probably because of, you know, the Wu-Tang Clan's influence on my past. But here's eventually I got into video. I started to film video, and I actually got started in my local church. 2003, I did an internship at my small town church, and I started making videos for my youth group, and they were terrible. Like you'll notice here, these are some of the interns in the church. We were balling on a budget, and you can see that by the Home Depot yellow lights in the scene there. Like our lighting was from Lowe's, like that. And that green screen, by the way, was from Joanne Fabrics on State Street in Marysville. A lady in the church stitched together the green screen fabric, and then boom, we had a studio. Like we were ready to go. When you have no money, this is actually a true principle. It's really not about your resources. It's about your resourcefulness. It's about seeing the opportunities around you, seeing what's available to you, and being creative with whatever you have. So I started to shoot some videos kind of for our church. The first YouTube channel I started for our church was actually in 2007. And before, I was still a little bit nervous to like start my own channel because it's one thing to do it for the church. It never really grew. We had 45 subscribers. You know what I mean? Like it never really, this was way back in 2007. But eventually I got the courage to actually punch fear in the face and record my own video. In fact, here's a little clip of it.
All right, so this is, I guess, the first Sean Thinks vlog, and I'm going to try to vlog every single day, mainly so I can remember what I'm even doing and what's going on, because I just feel like I have a lot that I'm thinking about, and I figured, hey, why not share it? And if you find something interesting, that's awesome. Now, this is definitely as real as it gets, so I'm not going to try to be energetic or entertaining, though maybe sometimes I will. But anyways,
yeah, I mean, that's a precious piece of history, is it not? I mean, it's obviously a really bad video, which I hope is encouraging because your first videos are going to be your worst videos. And one of the things I learned was that you really do have to start before you're ready. You have to start poop your pants scared. You have to start when you got sweat in your armpits and you're like worried, what are people going to think? But here's the good news. The power of this session and the information we're going to be covering, and also our 5-day challenge, is so you don't have to like, you can shorten your learning curve from what I was doing here. Like, I mean, my plan to not be energetic or entertaining, that's a bad plan. Like my plan to go in the video without a plan, like right now, grab your journal because let's actually make a plan of the videos you should be making. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, listen, I didn't have the ASQ method. I'm like, look, I don't even know what I'm doing, but I am glad I started because you cannot steer a parked car. You know, as you think about maybe starting or growing a YouTube channel going into 2024, like there's going to be a tension. We were like, wait a minute, Sean, you're telling me like research, come up with the right video ideas, and like be really strategic and make my first video. But then you also say like, just start messy. Which is it? It's both. You should just start messy. In fact, during the challenge, we're going to encourage you to post your first video. It's going to be one of the daily challenges, even if you've never posted a video. And there's part of just moving fast, breaking things, starting messy, starting on, before you have the confidence, because that helps you build momentum. But you also got to learn. You also want to like think about how you can make better videos. So it's not either or, it's really both. But there are two essential ingredients I discovered about success on YouTube. And we just hit one of them. You do got to start before you're ready. It seems cliche and basic, but one of the secrets I learned was that the people who succeed on YouTube, they upload videos on YouTube. I promise you that. That's a fact, right? You're like, I don't know if I understand Sean's humor yet. Okay, it's as a joke, like, but it's also not. Like, it's really true. Like, to start, you have to start, and you got to start before you're ready. But here's another big one: is you do have to commit to learning new skills. Yeah, starting messy, starting before you're ready, but also committing to learning new skills. Because I will tell you this, as embarrassing and funny as that first video is, obviously, if I stayed there, you wouldn't be here right now. Like, if I stayed there and did not commit to getting better as a communicator, to learning how YouTube works, to learning how to edit video better, how to make better videos, how to understand the algorithm and all of these things, if I hadn't continued to learn new skills, if there's one attribute that I've seen after interviewing over 350 successful entrepreneurs and YouTubers that have crushed it with YouTube, over getting 3 silver play buttons, I think this light went out, but I think that this silver play button, Think Media Podcast, Video Influencers, my Sean Cannell channel, and then Think Media got the gold play button. After learning that and talking to different people, the common attribute of those that succeed on YouTube versus those that don't is those that succeed keep learning new skills. They keep learning, they keep leveling up, they keep studying, they keep investing in themselves. And so that's what I had to do at that time. I dove deep into the trenches to master everything I could figure out after that bad video. Like, okay, now I gotta like, obviously that was a good place to start, but now I got to level up. So I started to do like what you're doing. I started to, invest in listening to podcasts, watching videos. Now, back when I started, I didn't have stuff like this, but I started to buy books, buy online courses to get educated, not just about YouTube, but about online business, online marketing, all of those things. And in doing so, I began to see the power of answering specific questions. I began to see the power of answering specific questions in blogs, which ranked in Google. And I started to think, wait a minute, what if I did that on YouTube? Would it be powerful? And would that get results? And so I worked at Red Robin for 10 years. There's a picture of me on Halloween. I was Wayne from Wayne's World as a server at Red Robin, Smoky Point, Washington. But on the right side of the screen, what you can see is this is where I started to answer specific questions. And what I actually did was I set up in my Ford Taurus this sketchy dash mount. The shot composition reveals how sketchy like my face is in the weirdest, like lower right corner of the video. But on my way to work, because I was just finding a way to get videos done, messy, no editing, but I did have some experience. I did have some knowledge. I did have some results. I had edited video by the time I posted this one around 2010. I'd been editing videos since 2003. So I had 7 years of experience on what I was helping people with. So what was the question I answered? How to get started in video production and video editing. And I shared my knowledge answering a specific question. I got 7,000 views. Whoa. If you're sharing helpful information, it's not about the tech and all that stuff. It's about a good title, good information, and answering specific questions. And then I kept doing it in my best performing videos: how to build a video editing PC, how to record Skype interviews, which, by the way, as you can see on screen, 12 years ago, that was impossible. Like, it was so difficult back in those, like, it wasn't like, oh, StreamYard or Zoom and like, oh, record video podcasts online. It was so challenging. So I got 22,000 views. Watch, because I was answering the right specific questions. In fact, this video is brought to you by vidIQ.com, but I wanted to share something with you that's really powerful, because one of the things that vidIQ can help you with, and there's other tools out there as well, but this one has is amazing is their keyword research tool. Well, how would you use this? Well, I'm going to show you a video in just a second I did on greens powder. What is that? Best greens powder. So it's like green juice that's put into powder form so that you can buy it and it has a good shelf life, and then mix it with water, like when you're traveling or when you don't have access to fresh juice, to get some fiber and to get some different ingredients, ashwagandha and spinach or kale or whatever, right? And all these different things. Well, why would I make a video like that? Well, on one of my channels, my personal channel, I talk about like health stuff. Now I'm really into it. So let's say you type in something like best greens powder. Now, why would you do this when you're answering specific questions? Well, what I'm actually doing is I'm using this tool, and this is in the description too, or I'll post it in the chat. You can get a 30-day trial of vidIQ's boost plan for just $1. And this isn't even their most powerful tool. It just kind of aligns with this session. There's there's their AI coach and a bunch of other stuff. But what I want you to see is on the right side, it says related keywords. It says the best greens powder supplement. And what I'm actually doing when I'm doing keyword research is, one, I'm wondering, this is my initial video idea, but could my research lead me somewhere else? Look, athletic greens, 22,000 people are looking for athletic greens a month, which you probably hear that sponsored on all kinds of different podcasts, but maybe you want to do a video on athletic greens versus something else. It's also, athletic greens is incredibly expensive. Maybe you want to do athletic greens versus a different brand, and you're going to use athletic greens to get the awareness because that's what people know, but you're going to connect it to a brand that's maybe less known. But the reason I'm able to then come to these conclusions is doing this keyword research. And if I do it by search volume, I can look at videos on superfoods. And this is probably going to lead me to 4 or 5 video ideas. And I'm like, okay, I do want to do my review of AG1 athletic greens. I also, though, maybe I want to do amazing grass green superfood, and that's on Amazon. And over the next 5 days of the challenge, we're going to be talking about multiple ways to monetize, because in doing keyword research and in planning and preparing my videos according to the ASQ method, what I was able to accomplish was I made a video called Best Greens Powder. So once I dialed the video in, you'll notice it got 186,000 views answering a specific question of what's the best greens powder. Okay. And I just shot this video sitting right over here in front of the window, just put a camera outside the window light, like no fancy lighting needed or anything. And I talked through my experience with the product I'd personally used based on something I was personally passionate about. But here's what's wild is this video has earned $20,000. Not from YouTube ad revenue. It's only earned about $1,000 or $1,500 from YouTube ad revenue, but it's earned another $18,000 from affiliate marketing. We don't have time to get into that now, but I just want you to see answering specific questions and learning the skill set of coming up with key like topics and different things, and then putting those into videos can not just get 186,000 views and grow your channel and get your first or next 1,000 subscribers. But over this challenge, we're going to be teaching you multiple different ways of earning $1,000. This particular video earned $20,000. It's pretty wild, right? Now, here's another example. I did a channel for a while called Think International. This was on Christian business success with Andre Olivier from South Africa. And like, again, that would be a question would be advice for Christian business owners, tips for Christian business owners. A lot of key, like knowing who you're talking to. What is it you're talking it about? And here's the crazy thing about answering specific questions is that when you master just this method, it can open up so many doors of opportunity to you. Like I always kind of looked ahead at what we're doing now at Think Media, thinking about like what would be possible. But I didn't realize that on the other side of learning how to do the ASQ method, learning how to rank videos, learning how to create passive income, that it would ultimately lead to where today, now it's literally our company's full-time mission to help people build their influence with YouTube. Again, I've launched multiple channels that have crossed 100,000 or 1 million subscribers. It's led to being featured in places like Forbes and Entrepreneur and Success and getting to speak on some of the biggest stages in the industry. You know, as a guy who's been doing video for 20 years since I started at my church, 20 years ago, I started doing video. I've been doing YouTube for 16. My first camera I ever used at the church was a Canon HV30 with mini DV tapes. Fast forward to today, and now we work with Canon and they pay us and they give us free cameras. Like, it's just crazy to think about what is on the other side of starting punching fear in the face, taking massive action, and answering specific questions. What brands might want to work with you? What doors of opportunity can open? I'm not trying to say it's easy, and this certainly is not a get rich quick opportunity. This is hard work, skill building. But when you have the right strategies, it can open doors to money, brands, partnerships. It was pretty wild. CNBC did a mini documentary about me. It's like this small town kid, this college dropout, had a month of almost $40,000 in profit from doing what's called affiliate marketing. And again, we'll touch on that a little bit later, of how it's one of the coolest ways to make a win-win-win situation for you, the viewer, and everybody involved if you do it right. Have had the opportunity to meet with and interview and connect with some of the biggest names in this kind of online entrepreneur space and just the business space in general, whether a Gary Vaynerchuk or a Patrick Bet-David, and wrote a book called YouTube Secrets, second edition. I think it's the most best-selling YouTube strategy book in the world. The second edition's out now, like 110,000 copies sold. And this is why a lot of people know me as the YouTube guy or Mr. YouTube. And now there's a team. And so one of the things I want to also encourage you with is that you would know, since growing up on 6 acres and starting to shoot videos in my bedroom, that I built every piece of this as a solo creator to start. Because the worst mistake you can make now is, number one, comparing your activities or trying to imitate what I'm doing now. There's like 30 people working at Think Media now. It's a whole different era. And so that's cool and inspiring. But what I'm going to be sharing with you in this challenge is what I would do if I'm starting, is what I would do at the beginning. Because chances are I'm thinking you don't have 30 people on your team, right? And I want to encourage you that I can relate to having to figure it out on my own, having to be the videographer and the editor and to figure out the editing software and all those points. But everything is figure outable, friend. Everything is learnable. And I'm sharing some of this because this is what the ASQ method led to. And waiting for you on the other side, maybe you don't love video editing, or you don't love, if you're a business owner watching this, you might skip the video editing step because you already have money. You could hire somebody or you could divert some cash. But I want to encourage you, even if you don't love all the little details about YouTube, you can figure them out. You can learn them, but get a clear vision for the day that you delegate some of the things that you don't love the most, so you can focus on your strengths. But out of all the different success we've had from using the ASQ method, I'm most proud of our students, many of which started at 0 and now have the silver play button or the gold play button. And how did they grow? Well, they grew from the 16 different tools that we teach. But of course, foundationally, all of them use the ASQ method. So can I really get 1,000 subscribers, though, using the ASQ method? Let's go a little bit deeper as we land the plane. We're going to land the plane here. So the ASQ method, let's just define it. It's the fastest way to create predictable growth on YouTube. The fastest way to create predictable growth on YouTube is to make clear and concise videos that answer specific questions. If you're just starting, if you want to grow, even if you're advanced, there's a big opportunity to do ASQ from your advanced level and crush it. And making clear and concise videos that answer specific questions. Here's some examples, and these are some of our VRA students. So you've got Christina Patterson, who has like a female Bible study channel, How to Meditate on God's Word, 3 simple step process for scripture meditation, answering specific questions. Here's a video that Nolan did. And actually, this was a part of my research. So I was using, we've shared a couple tools with you today in the session. We have like 20 tools. And as you learn to use the tools, you can spot crazy video ideas. I know we got to speed up, but I want to get you these nuggets of information. You might say, Sean, I feel like my niche is crowded. Well, consider my niche. I'm not the only person talking about YouTube, teaching YouTube. But here's what's wild is about a year ago, I discovered a video that was so basic and so simple. And I was like, hey, Nolan, you should make this video, man. It's going to crush. And that once you learn, like on the other side of learning this, you can start like printing videos that crush it. Because you discover the idea. You're like, oh my gosh, like this isn't really covered. And it was on how to turn on comments on YouTube. Like so basic. It's a 3-minute video. The video has 1.4 million views answering specific questions. The video grew our channel by 6,000 subscribers, earned $6,000 simply from being able to spot the right ASQ videos. Here's a short. Did you know shorts can be searchable? They can rank and they can get views for years later. Like Omar made this short on our channel years ago, and it still gets 776 views every 2 days. So, fact, one ASQ video can grow your channel thousands of subscribers and earn thousands of dollars. I suppose I should say this one YouTube short grew the channel 175 subscribers. This one video from Nolan grew the channel 6,000 subscribers. So can you get 1,000 subscribers from an ASQ video? For sure. And if you start like with absolutely no skill, like your first video is like better than mine, but still really bad, because any video could be better than my first video. But if you're like, hey, I'm just getting started, I'm not energetic or entertaining, and I have no plan, like just start. But as you start doing ASQ, you do 5 of these, 10 of these, 20 of these, you're going to get 1,000 subscribers. And remember, this video got 55,000 subscribers from one video. And I want to encourage you also that all niches are different. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll look at someone's channel and they'll be like, oh, like she's not good at YouTube. She only got 15,000 views. She only has 2,000 subscribers. So we're looking at Stacy Tuchel, for example, one of our students, right? So she got 15,000 views on this video, only has 2,000 subscribers. But the mistake that 99% of people make is they don't see the iceberg behind people's channels. So they see some whippersnapper getting millions of views off YouTube Shorts. That dude made $800 last month because YouTube Shorts pay you nothing. Meanwhile, Stacy Tuchel makes multiple millions of dollars a year as a business owner that has products and programs and services. So she doesn't need 1 million Shorts views. She needs the right views from the right audience. What gets interesting is let's be careful chasing vanity metrics. Let's chase the right subscribers, the right viewers for the right business model. Now you might say, Sean, but yeah, I just kind of want to entertain people and I'm more of a comedy channel. Well, then you're going to probably need to go really broad and really wide and go really viral. But for the service providers and the loan officers and the real estate agents and the business owners, like, let's go viral as well. But let's first lock in some videos that just attract to us our ideal target client, because this to Stacy is a grand slam, bringing her leads and clients, which brings us though to a deeper level. So you didn't even know that we could go deeper than the ASQ. You might already thought it was kind of simple. Well, I hope I can offend you with this next point, because what's even better than the ASQ method is the ASQ method, the ASQ, the ASSSQ method. It's not a joke. This is for real. It's funny though, but it's for real. You ready? Answer stupid, simple, specific questions. You might be wondering, Sean, I think I already got it. Like, why are you continuing? I actually don't think you got it yet. Like, the really smart creators are going to continue to roll with me in this video, because as we unpack layers of this, it's like the blooming onion at Outback Steakhouse. Like, it just continues to, until you get to that juicy core. Like, we're going through layers to this thing. I'm trying to make a point. One of the biggest opportunities with answering specific questions is answering stupid. Like, what does stupid mean? They seem so stupid, you wouldn't even make the video. That's kind of what, like, how to turn off comments on YouTube. It's like, well, wouldn't I just Google that? Like, I wouldn't make that into a video. And that's what 99% of the competition did for us at Think Media. They didn't make it into a video. We did. We got 1.4 million views, 6,600 new subscribers, and thousands of dollars in ad revenue, because we were willing to be stupid. See, everybody out here trying to be so advanced and so smart and so, oh, I'm such an expert and all this stuff. I'm trying to be a beginner. It's called the Shoshin mentality. I'm trying to have this beginner approach. Let me really get into my target audience, my ideal viewer. Let me get into their mindset. Where are they at? And how can I connect with them? So think about the book series, Facebook Ads for Dummies, How to Be a Parent for Dummies, How to Play Baseball for Dummies. One of the best-selling book series of all time. You might actually start having more success in business and YouTube if you get dumber. You really might. Like, if you actually get less fancy and less sophisticated, you stop worrying about what other people think, and you start answering stupid. So simple, it seems like it shouldn't be a video. So specific, it seems like it shouldn't even be made. Well, prove it to me, Sean, that the ASSSQ method works. Well, enter Exhibit 1. The video on how to drill into your wall. 1.7 million views. So we coach a lot of different people that are in our Video Ranking Academy program. Some people are like carpenters, DIY, build stuff at home, home improvement, home, rehab, all these different things. So we got people out here like trying to go how to make a Celtic etched oak dinner table, my 176 step process, how to stain it, and how to go through, like, that's the video they're making. The most difficult, advanced, like calligraphy, etching, and their video got 77 views. Meanwhile, somebody used the ASSSQ method on how to drill into a wall and got 1.7 million views. All right, you decide. Like, how hard was this video to make? Not hard. That's what's also crazy is, remember, this is only one of 16 tools. The cool thing about ASQ, though, is that it's pretty simple, and sometimes the videos only take a matter of minutes and can get disproportionate amount of views. It's Bruce Lee who said simplicity is the key to brilliance. Wow. What if there's a simple path forward to making money online, to getting 1,000 subscribers? Leonardo da Vinci said it like this: simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. So actually, maybe somebody's like, why doesn't Sean share some advanced tactics? Well, by the way, over the next 4 days on the challenge, it's going to get crazy. You better buckle your seatbelt. But number two, maybe simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And maybe it's not about getting crazy advanced information. Maybe it's about executing on a simple strategy that works. Maybe. Here's a video on renting versus buying a home. Very basic. The 5% rule, 3.8 million views. And listen, I was shocked when I actually realized this about Dave Ramsey, Marie Forleo, and Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, when I started to study their channels, for example, Dave Ramsey, cut up your credit cards, get out of debt. I looked at his channel, started to look at what he now and the other personalities on the channel do, which, by the way, he gets around 13 million views a month. A lot of you wouldn't know if you were a Dave Ramsey fan. Like, Dave Ramsey's like one of the biggest personal finance YouTubers. And you would never be put in that category. So you'd go, okay, so what's Dave's strategy? 13 million views a month. What is the advanced tactics that Dave Ramsey is doing? He's answering specific questions. And honestly, many could argue that he's answering stupid, simple, specific questions. Like, hey, Dave, they call into the show and Dave's on there. Yeah, I'm here. How you doing? Better than I deserve. And then he's like, so I'm thinking about buying a new truck. It's a brand new electric Ford. I'm thinking about investing in it. And he goes, well, what's your financial situation? Well, I am about $50,000 in debt, and I do have $25,000 of student loan debt. Do you think I should buy the truck? And Dave will go, no, that's stupid. Okay, Dave, thanks so much for the advice. And I'll hang up. They'll put that on YouTube, and it's 46,000 views. Like, you're out here like critiquing, but Dave's just answering specific questions. Not only that, he's been doing it for 30 years. Honestly, answering a lot of the same questions if you were to study what Dave is really doing. I am simply trying to prove a point. And the layers of this Outback Steakhouse blooming onion, they're real. Because once you start to look under the surface of what Ramsey Solutions has got going on, answer specific questions is maybe more powerful than you first thought. Is my money still safe in the bank? Should I force my kids to stay home until they're 25? By the way, one of the reasons they can get these specific questions is by getting audience questions. In their case, it's a call-in show. You could actually go to Quora.com. You could eventually, when your audience is big enough, you'll get your own comments, and they'll give you specific questions to answer. Buy a solar panel so I won't have any more bills. How do I kick my mother-in-law out of the house? That's a specific question. Like, that's a really, how do I kick my mother-in-law out of the house? There's 5 of you right now that are like, that's my exact question. Like, I didn't know. I got to go watch that video. It's a good question, so ultimately answering specific questions. But then I realized, wait a minute, that's what Gary Vaynerchuk does too. Oh, he even has a show called the Ask Gary V Show. He's using the ASQ method. And even when it's not the show, how do I charge more for your services? Well, that's a specific question. And then I realized, well, Marie Forleo, that's what she's doing too. How do I write a book and actually finish it with a guest on a video podcast? Is email marketing dead? 3 marketing myths that'll destroy your business. She's answering specific questions. So here's my question for you. What is a specific question you could answer on your YouTube channel? What's a specific question you could answer on your YouTube channel? So this is where we should take action, because it's not just about taking notes, it's about making notes. We're going to make your battle plan for dominating YouTube in 2024. What is a specific question you can answer on your YouTube channel? Remember, 70% of viewers use YouTube to help them solve a problem. But as we have landed the plane and as we are taxiing to the gate, I had that one promise I shared at the beginning of staying motivated. What is the secret to keeping your spark alive when launching your YouTube channel? Because the truth is, so when you start, yes, there's the Larry stories where we get 1,000 subscribers. I think some people are going to get 1,000 subscribers this week during the challenge. But YouTube is a marathon and not a sprint. It takes time to learn the strategies. Sometimes we want to order a light. We want to order a microphone. All that stuff is fine. So how do you stay motivated when you're just starting, before the momentum kicks in, before the views kick in? You know, my best answer to that question was something that I learned back in 2009. And if you haven't heard my story, in 2009 is the year my wife almost died. Her name's Sonia. At this point, we've been married 18 years. But at that time, she was hospitalized for 6 days because of a medical error where they put a feeding tube from her nose into her stomach. They put it in jejunum, and instead of the liquid going into her stomach, it filled up her body cavity, which will suffocate your organs and kill you quick. And I will never forget that night where we had to rush her to the hospital, and we got her in Everett, Washington, stabilized in the ER. And then they took her in an ambulance. Dark night, raining in Seattle. I was following in our Honda Civic as we went to Virginia Mason and stayed there for 6 days. And so I had a long time to reflect on life, long time to worry, and to make matters worse, during that era, we actually were losing our home because of The Big Short. So in 2007, the housing market crashed. And in 2009, some senior leaders at our church had a moral failure, stole some money. And so the church was falling apart. So I actually found myself like sitting in the hospital room, seeing my wife on that bed with all the little beeps and noises from the hospital, thinking about the fact that we're losing our house, and like, what is going to happen with my wife and what's happening in our world. And to make matters worse as well, is I also was struggling financially. I was starting my video business, waiting tables at Red Robin. And Sonia was actually the main breadwinner, and she couldn't work at that point because her health had deteriorated so much. But she was the main breadwinner working at Ivers and Mukilteo, waiting tables. She was nannying for our friends TJ and Kevin. And then she was doing the finances for my parents. So I felt like the whole world was falling down around me. The weight of the world was on my shoulders. And I wanted to share this lesson that I learned during that era, because as I was worrying, honestly, but as I was praying, I was like, God, like, what should I do? Like, what am I going to do? And I felt really challenged in that hospital room that, Sean, you need to step up. You need to man up. You got to fight for your family. You got to fight for your future. And I almost felt like God gave me a vision of 2 paths. And one of the paths was just giving up and just being like, man, everything, like, what's the point of fighting? What's the point of trying? Just give in to the depression. Just give in to the discouragement. Just give in to the bitterness. But then I saw like the other path, which was the path of, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to step up. And okay, my wife's sick right now, but I'm not. So I'm going to fight. My wife is going through some challenges and our church fell apart, but I'm going to fight for my faith. Like, I follow Jesus. I don't follow a person ultimately. Like, on Christ, the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand. Like, okay, we're losing a house and I see no hope because our credit's destroyed, but we can buy another house because we can figure this thing out. We can fight our way forward. And what I ultimately learned, and I want you to write this down because I think it's a takeaway for all of us, is I learned that reasons come first, results come second. I need you to hear this, and I know we're going a little long on this session, but I've learned that YouTube is not easy. Like, it's going to take work. It's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take focus. And I would imagine maybe your circumstances right now are not as harsh as mine, but maybe you've been in circumstances like that or worse. Or maybe what you're facing right now, regardless, your pressure is real. What you're going through is real. The pain you're feeling is real. The person who betrayed you is real. The marriage conflict and the fights are real. The chronic pain you're experiencing, it's all real. So what is the difference between those who just go, oh man, building a side hustle and actually doing the work, like I just don't want to do it, and those who do the long nights when necessary and go and stick through the challenge and don't just give up after session 1, but watch all 5 and take the notes and learn the skills? What's the difference? The difference is the reasons. So I'm asking you, what is your reason for wanting to start and grow a YouTube channel? And here's the unlock for me. I think writing them down is a good idea. That's a good time to write them down in your journal. Writing down like, oh, I'd love to have a new car. I'd love to like send my kids to a better school. I'd love to have a dream home. I'd love to have a vacation. That stuff's cool. But I do think that when you start to write as many reasons as possible, but go really deep, sometimes what we begin to discover is like, there's something that really hurts you that's happening in the world and you want to see change. This is kind of like figuring out your why. Why do I want to start a YouTube channel? And you know you're getting close to your why when it makes you cry. When you get sad or mad at what you see and you're like, there needs to be, people need to learn something different. Maybe you're sad or mad about even the state of the YouTube content in your niche, that like there's no creativity or innovation. You're passionate to see that happen. Or maybe there's a cause or some kind of nonprofit, or maybe you want to make big money so you can give away big money to a cause that matters. I think this is important, and why this may not be tactical thumbnail editing information. This is the real stuff, because the journey from 2009 in that hospital room to today wasn't just like a linear trajectory of no more hardship from then on out. Are you kidding me? It was, highs, lows, setback, challenges, this, that. But what I kept coming back to was my reasons. And for me, it was my family. It was, I got to figure out how to pay these medical bills. It was, I got to figure out how to fight for Sonia. It was, if we have kids someday, which the doctor said we couldn't, how are we going to be able to take care of them? If we're going to build a business, could we ever, daycare or nannies, like how are we going to afford that stuff? I started thinking about all that in the hospital. I was like literally thinking ahead, and I started to get a fire. I started to get reasons so strong that the results were inevitable, because it was like, I'm not going to quit. I'm fighting for these reasons. Reasons come first, results come second. And keep telling me your reasons. And our whole Think Media team is inspired, and we like to capture those and like kind of just see, because it's so inspiring to hear the stories. But now fast forward, what happened on the other side of starting on YouTube, learning new skills, and not quitting because I was driven forward, because it wasn't fame and fortune. By the way, I'm not like some saint. I understand the upside of building a personal brand. So I was pumped, of course, for the financial opportunity. And yes, it's like cool to, have more followers or subscribers. But sometimes that stuff I found is like really not, that's a cool byproduct. It's not a good main reason. Man, when you get those strong main reasons, for us now, 13 years later, 14 years later, it's been cool to see through medical treatments and a lot of prayer. My wife, Sonia, still has challenges, but is flourishing, powerful mother, CFO of our business, powerful leader, discerning, incredibly beautiful human, my best friend, 18 years. And then we get this miracle boy, John Steven. I don't even have time to tell you the story. Sean Bradley. I'm already I don't know my kids' names. I don't know what we're doing. I haven't been sleeping. We got our 3-year-old, Sean Bradley, who's just amazing. And then God blessed us with John Steven. And fast forward, my other reasons were I want to teach. I want to make a difference in the lives of people. I think I have something valuable to share and to see the reach of the message. It wasn't overnight. It wasn't without hardship, but I didn't quit. And the videos got crispier. You saw my first video? Like, you know what I mean? Think about like.
All right. So this is, I guess, the first Sean Thinks vlog.
This, like just lightsaber in the background. 1% better at a time, one video at a time. Think Media growing as a team on the other side of reasons come first, results come second. All the students. And here's my question for you. And I'm done here. I'm going to give you the recap, but this is probably one of the most important things. Who is waiting for you to show up and take your dreams seriously? Who is waiting for you to show up and take your dreams seriously? I had 2 paths. I could have quit. And honestly, people around me probably would have said, the average person would be like, it's reasonable. You were going through it. Like, I don't blame you. And I don't think that's even the point. It's not about blame or shame, but it is about choices. who's waiting for you on the other side of taking your dreams seriously? Because if we look just at who's here on screen and who's inside of Video Ranking Academy and subscribers on our channel, it's crazy to be like, what if I kept my dream locked up? What if I gave into fear? What if I just gave into the discouragement? It's a weird parallel universe. So who's waiting for you to show up and take your dreams seriously? And why do you ultimately want to succeed on YouTube? I want you to rally on that question because getting clear, we are purpose-driven entrepreneurs. You want to get clear on your purpose, clear on your why, because reasons come first and results come second. And so here's our recap. YouTube is healthy and growing. I want you to use the ASQ method to get 1,000 subs and beyond. Remember, we have our napkin plan. What are some specific questions you can answer? Write down your goals and reasons that you want to succeed on YouTube is number 3, because we want to build upon those. And man, just the chance to buy whatever camera you want, go on vacation, get all those captured as well. Well, how much money you want to make a month? What's your ideal income? Write all that down as well. But also, what is your why? And there's a framework for that of asking why 7 times. Well, I just want financial. I want to make 10 grand a month. Why? Well, because I want less stress. Why? Well, because I don't want my wife to be under the pressure of the bills. Why? Well, so that we might have an environment where we could really raise kids. Why? Because we really want to ultimately create a legacy. Why? Because ultimately generations see how like it might take some time. And this is even some homework as we do this challenge of why is it that you want to succeed on YouTube? Remember, commitment is the foundation of all great accomplishments. Committing to start. But before all that, I want to challenge you to commit to not missing one of these challenge sessions. We're just getting started. We have a quick tip every single day, 4 more days. We have 4 more deep dive sessions. We have special guests joining us. And so make sure to, if you haven't actually joined or registered or you're not fully in the circle group, learnvideo2023.com to be a part of the Tube 1K challenge. And as we land the plane on the YouTube video, click or tap the screen to watch another video, smash like if you got value, and join the challenge at learnvideo2023.com. My name is Sean Cannell, rhymes with YouTube channel. We're going to go over to the group now where we have got some extra giveaways and some daily challenges and things like that. So I will see you in the next video.